how I saved money on my podcast. This has to do with why I am calling this the Frugal Cast. Let's do something that I did last week. Let's go to the Excel view. All right, I have two columns. The first column I have is my original budget, which I displayed last week. And then I have my updated budget. My views, subscribers, revenue, earnings per 1,000 views, that remains unchanged. But once we get to actual costs, this is where we see some savings. This is where I will explain what I have done to save some money. Last week, I shared that my podcast hosting bill for a year was $240, $20 a month. I made a change to get that down to $7 a month or $84 a year. I would be able to get that down to $60 a year or $5 a month, but Libsyn is being a bit funky and a bit of a pain in the butt. I asked them to whitelist OP3 as a URL prefix so I could use OP3 for my analytics. They said, we're going through a big redesign. We'll get to it sometime in 2025. Thanks for the timeline, guys. 3 months or 15 months, sometime in that time frame. So I have gotten that down to $7 a month. I had to make some concessions. For the entirety of this show, I have published a stereo audio file, and it had been 192 kilobits per second MP3. What I did to get under my storage limit was drop it to mono, and then drop to 96 kilobits per second. And there should be no perceived change in the audio quality, because with stereo, you have a left channel, which is 96 kilobits per second, and a right channel, which is 96 kilobits per second. Now we just have a center channel, which is 96 kilobits per second. So it's the exact same quality. The only time you will hear any difference is the 10 seconds or 20 seconds where there's outro music. And frankly, having stereo outro music on the MP3 is not worth over $100. It's just not. I'm sorry. If you need the stereo music, watch it on YouTube. So there, we saved a lot of money there. No change to my website hosting. I mentioned last week I canceled SpeakPipe. That saved me $180 a month. $15 a month, gone. The way I resolved that is go to askbandrew.com. If you want to send in a question, askbandrew.com. Now, the submission form is not on some third-party website. It is on geeksrising.com, and there is a form where you can send in an email or you can attach your audio recording, which I do prefer. So that saved me $180. No change to the domain costs for Geeks Rising, Bandrew Says, or Ask Bandrew. Then we get to the email. I was paying for Google Business Suite or something. It was essentially $8 a month. I just canceled that. I canceled it because I already pay for premium personal email. It's an encrypted service. And this service also allows you to use custom domains. So I just set up custom domains for the Geeks Rising domain and Podcastage. And now I use this service that I was already paying for, and I save $8 a month for Geeks Rising. And I think the Podcastage one was like $10 or $12 a month because I had additional features, which I didn't need. So I'm saving a bunch of money there. Midjourney, I'm still paying for that, although I did just update Photoshop Beta, and they rolled out a new version of the AI generative fill. It does look significantly better than the last version that I was using for a number of months. I'm going to try to use the new Photoshop AI fill to create the thumbnails for this podcast and for the clips, but I may still have to use Midjourney. I'm hoping that Photoshop AI gets good enough that I can cancel Midjourney because That's $129 a year. But with these changes, I have dropped the annual cost from $916 to $487. That's $429 in savings. That is absolutely amazing. Dropping the file size, going from stereo to mono, removing redundant services that were unnecessary, that is all I did. I lost no functionality. Everything that you could do before, everything that I could do before, all the interactive features that I had before are still there. I just cut the cost in half. And isn't that amazing? So the EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization, went from $581 up to $1,010. Taxes went from $203 up to $353, which means net income jumped from $378 to $656, which is a 74% increase in the take-home pay, in the net income. Episode income went from about $10 up to $16, and hourly pay, assuming 5 hours an episode, went from $1.89 up to $3.28. Look out, I am in the money. I now make more than servers who rely on tips. Take that. Okay, that is all the Excel. I wanted to share that. First off, because I love Excel, I love talking about the finances and the accounting, but I wanted to share what I have done to reduce costs of this podcast because as a hobbyist, that is incredibly important to us. It is important to me that I don't put myself in difficult financial situations for this hobby. By reducing the cost by almost 50%, that is a huge pro for me. It means I'm going to be able to continue to produce this show for a longer period of time without any financial issue. And maybe you will be able to make some similar changes. Make the shift from stereo down to mono if you don't need stereo. And drop your hosting from $240 to $84 a year. Huge savings there. Cut out those redundant services which are unnecessary. Do you need something like SpeakPipe? Maybe you do. But if you don't, have people submit audio questions to your email. Save you money there. Do you really need a specialized domain email? Maybe not. Just get a standard Gmail account or whatever service you want to use. So I am going to stop the Excel recording. That is that. Hopefully that was interesting to you. Hopefully that was helpful for you. And hopefully that will help you save some money on your podcast. Let me type in what I'm saving this as. Excel. That will take forever to save.